Praise be Jesus Christ, and hello to all my dear Catholic family in Poland. First, I'd like to say I am so encouraged by your faith and witness. It makes me want to come to Poland all the more. My name is Richard L. George. I am the artist behind the painting of Our Lady of Tihaljiny, and I've been doing Catholic religious art since shortly after my pilgrimage to Medjugorje in early March 1988. Though my pilgrimage to Medjugorje was originally scheduled for less than a week, I experienced such an outpouring of grace upon grace that I chose to remain there for another 3 months, during which time I encountered pilgrims in the hundreds of thousands coming to Medjugorje from all over the world with incredible testimonies. And the miracles of faith and conversion abounded everywhere. Toward the end of my stay, though, I learned about a fellow pilgrim who knew about a contemplative community of young people, all fruits of Medjugorje, that was in Italy. So I traveled with him to Italy to visit this community before returning to the U.S. As I noticed that most of the members of the Marian community Oasi della Pace were discerning a religious vocation, I then suddenly realized I had not prayerfully discerned whether or not God was calling me to the religious life or priesthood. I made a mind that I was going to stay there and discern my vocation with the community for a 3-year period. At one point I did a sketch of the Nativity for one of the members of the community, and when Father Johnny learned that I had some talent in art, he asked me to do a poster that would later be used for the Oasi della Pace Piano di Vita booklet cover. Father Johnny then sent me to una scuola di iconografia so that I could learn to make icons for the community. And that was very special. After almost 3 years from when I had first traveled to Medjugorje, I still did not understand the specific vocation that God was calling me to. Only that He's calling all of us to holiness, regardless of our state of life. I would have remained to discern a little longer in the community, but my dad, mom, and younger brother were experiencing some difficulties, and so I made the decision to return to the U.S. and see if I could be of some help. Once I was back in the U.S., I took the opportunity to return to my studies at Kansas Newman University, where I began studying in a degree program of Christian liturgical art. I'd no sooner begun my studies in art when I started receiving commissions to do religious artwork. In that same year of study, I fell in love with theology, and with the encouragement of the professor of theology at Kansas Newman University, I transferred to the renowned Franciscan University of Steubenville, a university that I had first heard about while I was yet in Italy, from a couple of its grads who became members of Oasi della Pace. Well, while I studied at Franciscan, I enjoyed several art commissions from the university, for the university chapel, for the summer conferences, for priest chasubles, and for framed canvases. Others from the U.S. would come to the summer conferences and they would see my art and ask me to do art for their parishes and for their conferences. For some of the Medjugorje conferences, I was commissioned to paint Our Lady of Medjugorje, and others, they wanted Our Lady of Tihaljiny. My painting of Our Lady of Tihaljiny that is being offered in Poland is being offered exclusively through Wojciech Lipinski. I painted this image for the following reasons. Over the years, since my pilgrimage in 1988, I've come across many different photographs of the statue, and each time it was a reminder of the special gift of my pilgrimage there. Because of this, I kept pictures of the statue of Our Lady of Tihaljiny in several places around my home. However, I never felt that the photographed images of the statue did a good job at representing the personal encounter that one experiences while on pilgrimage there. In most photos, the eyes and the expression on the face do not personally engage the viewer at all. Therefore, I chose to paint Our Lady of Tihaljiny gazing at the viewer with a tender motherly love, found both in the beauty of her eyes and on the expression of her face. From all of the feedback that I've received, I have learned that this painting has provided countless people with the opportunity to better remember and ponder anew the special graces received from Medjugorje. But what's more, I've heard back from many others who have never been to Medjugorje and yet have been touched in a very special way after seeing this image of Our Lady of Tihaljiny. One man contacted us and later his brother, and they both told us that they came back to the faith after seeing this painting of Our Lady, and they'd been away from the faith for 40 plus years. Another man, while filming, pointed his camera at a little girl who was holding up a copy of the Medjugorje magazine that featured my painting of Our Lady of Tihaljina on the cover. The experience moved him so much that he almost dropped his camera as he broke down and cried. Another man told us that a Protestant came into his home and he had this image on the wall, and the Protestant, his eyes welled up with tears, and he had a personal encounter with Our Lady right there. Again, another person contacted me who had 6 months prior suffered the devastating loss of her youngest son. She said that her daughter had given her a print of my painting, and it was the first huge step for healing from their loss. And these are just a few examples of how God has been using this image to bless others' lives. I'm truly overwhelmed and grateful to God that He would use me and my art to cooperate with His grace to help others in this way. It is my hope and my prayer that every time you look at this painting of Our Lady of Tihaljina, it will be an opportunity for another moment of grace, helping you to feel the warm embrace of the Blessed Mother's love for you and keep you ever more mindful of her call. God bless you, and Mother Mary keep you under her protective mantle. Thank you.